Shut up, compressor. Okay, time to paint some more metal things. This time we're going to be tackling the intercooler opening, the ducts, and the doors. So we've already masked and painted the insignia inside the doors and on the outside of the opening louver door things. But the top and bottom of all of them, and then there's a little tiny sliver right here, I'm going to go ahead and paint those in silver, because I don't think they necessarily would have gotten painted. So I've loaded a little bit of MRP black into the airbrush, just to knock the blue down, basically. Come on, piece of junk. All right, now let's get to the fuselage. Got all this crap burnished down pretty well. This was fun to mask, by the way. Okay. Now this side. All right. Okay, so for this next stage, for the actual metal part, I'm going to be going with Tamiya LP11 Silver. So why is that? Well, typically I prefer LP11 for its look of like an aluminum lacquer, because it's not quite as metallic as a lot of the metallics are. Fucking crane flies. It's probably stupid to spray with this thing sitting right here, so we're gonna give it some distance. All right. All right, in here again. Cool. Let's get around here. Okay, so we've got one more thing to paint, and that is the propeller hub. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Now, I painted this before and realized I had not cleaned up some seams on the side. And so those have now been cleaned up. And to mask this, I'm always a bit, I guess you could say, obsessive about, there's this little point. Basically, you've got the round bits, and then you've got the blades, right? And there's this little point sort of the inside of the blades where they face the hub. I'm always kind of paranoid about getting those painted and having to deal with it. So what I did is I took some elements from Ushi's big circle mask sheet, sliced one side, and then kind of like shoved them down over here, burnished them down to the inside of these blades, put some tape on the blades obviously, and then I used a bit of whisker biscuit to provide that little edge seal right there to protect A, where it's cut in half, and B, where it's really dicey to mask right up against it so it doesn't push it forward. So that's pretty much that. Then I came in and sliced these a little bit so I can actually get in sort of at the sides, make things look all nice and pretty. So shall we? God, this paint is awesome. If you don't already have LP11, and most people in the States don't because it's not being sold here yet, I definitely recommend grabbing some. And probably your best place to do that right now is eBay. And it's all over the place on eBay. It's actually very easy to get on there. It just takes a while. It may take a bit longer than normal with this coronavirus stuff going on. I'm trying to make sure I've got all these side bits taken care of appropriately. This is why I masked a whole bunch. Okay, that looks pretty damn good. All right, let me clean this out and then we will come back and do some unmasking. All right, let's unmask. Okay, well this side looks good except for that little tiny bit of white overspray I got going there. And that looks like I might have a tiny little area of right there that I need to maybe repair. Other than that, that doesn't look half bad, does it? Alright, fingers crossed this side doesn't have overspray. That works. Just to kind of see what we're looking at here. Come on, you piece of shit. Fucking crane flies. Alright, just see what we're looking at here. Here's what it looks like with the door installed. You can see it's just a little tiny thing, but having the silver up top there versus the blue really helps with the look. So should we do the prop real fast, and then we'll call it a night. Now, I haven't painted the prop at all. It's still Moto Black. But I think Moto Black actually works really well, especially for the propeller cuffs. And then if I decide to paint the blades a different shade, I can come in and do that without too much trouble. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty damn cool. All right, you got the idea what's happening. We'll pick up in just a second. Okay, so we've got the prop unmasked, and that looks pretty dang solid. Now, when I was looking at reference photos of these things, don't see a lot of chipping on the P-47M props. They seem to be kept in pretty good condition. One thing I would note is that you do not have the Curtis Electric logo on the blade. You do have some data stencils on the cuffs, and you have obviously yellow tips on the front. On the back, I only have one photo that shows yellow tips on the back, so I'm kind of torn what to do as far as that goes. I also have a photo showing close enough on the front face of the prop where the yellow tip is, chipping to black, not to silver. So I think I'm going to do something like that on this. But for now, we're going to go ahead and shut this down for the evening and pick back up later. So before we keep moving, I want to reach back and sort of close the loop on what happened in part 20 of the P-47 build, which is when we did this fun excrement with all of the Aeromaster decals. And basically, no matter what product was used, what application method was taken, things didn't go all that well. And my musing at the end was, potentially they either weren't that great to begin with, or maybe they have sort of gone around the bend and the adhesive has degraded or something like that. And I thought it would be fun to test a better quality, sort of like a known good decal on the same surface and see how things went. So I did that with a decal from Fun Decals, this 670. It's from one of their Corsair sheets. It's one of the marking schemes that I know that I will just never use. And frustratingly, the white, due to brightness and everything, is not showing up how well it has sunk into the surface details, but it has done a bang-up job of it. Basically, it went down without a hitch. Everything worked perfectly. These little spots here, I think, are from setting solution sitting on top of it, kind of as it cured. I assume they're the sort of thing that would go away the second that you put down a sealing clear coat on top. But I mean, even just compared to like all the other ones, it's just night and day how well it is done. And it's super frustrating that the level of detail sink in is not showing up, at least on the monitor that I'm looking at this on. But basically, this has kind of proved to me that the fault is somewhere with these Aeromaster decals. They're having some sort of trouble. Maybe it's adhesive, maybe it's age. I don't know. Maybe they're just not very good. But what I want to do, and I'm going to kind of keep this sort of floating around, is I've ordered some Tamiya decal adhesive with softener. It's some crazy product of theirs that they don't really seem to sell in the US, or if they do, it's not common. But I've got some on the way from eBay, and it will show up sometime between now and, 2022. And when it does, I want to test another one of these Aeromaster decals with that shit, because if that shit can rescue crappy decals, yay.